Magandang araw! Did you see what's inside my kitchen cupboard? Samot-saring pagkain na local at imported. Mga instant noodles na gawa sa Pinas at mayroon ding nagmula sa Indonesia at Japan. May imported at local na corned beef din. Napansin niyo ba ang McCormick? Isang US brand, ngunit bakit kaya nakalagay sa packaging ng mga produkto nito ang katagang Made in the Philippines? Were you able to count the canned sardines? Alam nyo bang ang lahat ng iyon ay produkto at gawang Pinoy? Today, we are going to talk about globalization and the Philippines. Ano bang naiisip ninyo kapag Pinoy global brands? Siyempre, Jollibee. Global brand ba talaga ang Jollibee? Aside from it, may iba pa bang Pinoy brands na namamayagpag sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo? Let's find out! Globalization is the massive interdependence of countries or nations and their citizens in the economic, political, technological, and socio-cultural aspects. With that in mind, does the Philippines have an important role in the global economy? If there are any, what are those roles? And are there any Filipino brands that can be considered global? If you want to sell your product outside the Philippines, you need an approval from the government of that country. Whatever laws related to trading that they have over there, you need to be aware of them. If your government has a good relationship with that country, it will be easier for you to engage in trade with it. The technology of the internet, computer, planes or ship, and mobile phones will help you and your prospective clients and customers to develop a smooth transaction. Siyempre, bago ka makipagnegosasyon sa kung sino ang iyong kontak sa ibang bansa, pag-aralan mo din kung ano ang kultura ng mga taong nakatira doon. Halimbawa, dahil sa Islam ang pangunahing relihiyon sa kanlurang Asya, ang produkto mo na may kinalaman sa baboy ay hindi papayagan ng basta lamang. Kung ito ay hindi nga baboy, ito ay dapat na nakapasa sa halal certification. Ayon kay William Schurman, ang globalization daw ay paghahangad na magkaroon ng malayang kalakalan sa pandaigdigang ekonomiya. Idinagdag din niya na ito daw ay ang paglakas at paglaganap ng mga kanluraning ideya, pamamaraan at sistema sa daigdig. In the economic context, it is simply defined as the movement of people, products, and services across nations and countries. Yes, even language like English is now a product. Do you know that English itself was a product of globalization? How so? From Germany, the Angles and Saxons brought English to Great Britain after the downfall of Roman Empire. With the confluence of local and other languages like Norse, French, and Latin, the English language that we now speak came to being. The language reached the shores of North America because of the European colonization. When the 13 colonies gained their independence, they embarked on colonization and imperialism. The Philippines became a colony of the USA with education as a tool for colonization. The Filipinos learned English by heart. Karagdagan nga pala, sa mga Briton natin unang narinig ang wikang Ingles noong 1762, kung saan ay isinuko ng Espanya ang Manila at Cavite sa bansang Inglaterra. So going back to globalization in the context of economics, a good example is a Korean studying English in the Philippines, whether online or as a foreign student. Many schools and language centers in the country offer short or long-term English training and tutorials to Koreans. South Korea and the Philippines have a good political relationship with one another. Our visa policy is relaxed. Siyempre, let us not compare our technology to that of South Korea. Industrialized country ito. It doesn't mean that we don't have the technology. Otherwise, the Philippines will not become the 10th largest country host for Koreans. Included in the technology is the increasing number of flights between Korea and the Philippines. Aside from warm climate and the hospitality of the Filipinos, it is the low-cost language education in the country that attracts them. Yes, even cheaper than those offered in South Korea. This is a result of globalization. Koreans come here as students instead of being colonizers. This affects our tourism, the economy, and the political and socio-cultural ties with South Korea. Sa kadahilanan ding ito ay naging bahagi ang Pilipinas ng Korean Wave. Ito ang paglaganap ng kanilang estilo ng pananamit, pag-aayos sa sarili, musika, palabas sa telebisyon, at pelikula sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo.
Globalization is perhaps a new term, but definitely not a new phenomenon. During pre-colonial era, our Filipino ancestors were already engaged in international trading. Through barter system, they traded agricultural and home manufactured products with foreigners like the Chinese, Japanese, Malays, Vietnamese, Indians, and the Arab traders. These Asian nations have historical accounts of these economic activities, mentioning pearls, mats, fabrics, animal hides, fruit, and vegetables as the main exports of the Philippines. Ang ating mga sultanato at rahanato ng mga Muslim sa bahagi ng Visayas at Mindanao ay tanyag sa pagmimina ng ginto at perlas na ginagamit sa paggawa ng alahas. Sa teknolohiya, ang ating mga ninuno ay tanyag sa paggawa ng mga dekalidad na bangka at iba pang sasakyang pandagat na ginagamit upang maglayag sa bahagi ng Asya. These are the Chinese ceramic jars and wares unearthed in the country. You can find thousands of them in our National Museum. These are called piloncitos. This metal nugget is considered as the earliest form of currency used by our ancestors living in Tondo, Namayan, and Rajanate of Butuan. Many of these coins were made of gold, considered a precious metal in the country since ancient times. Piloncitos circulated in the country between 9 to 12 centuries CE to remove the inconvenience of barter system. This is a historical account of Spanish conquistadores about the skills of our ancestors in mining and crafting gold. This kind of currency was also found in Indonesia and believed to be related to money system of ancient Javanese and Sukhothai kingdoms. This is the depiction of Japanese traders living in the Philippines according to the Baxter Codex. This jar may look simple to you, but during ancient times, it was valued by Japanese traders. It is called Rusun jar or Luzon jar, named after the island of Luzon, used for Japanese tea ceremony before. This is still considered a treasured antique in present-day Japan. Read the description of Rusun jars in the Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas by Antonio de Morga, a Spanish conquistador. There is no doubt that the Philippines textile and Filipino weavers are brimming with skills and talents. After all, it is embedded in our roots. Since ancient times, our ancestors have been fashioning fabric materials and dyes from the nature. We should be proud of the fibers like piña and abaca because they are known worldwide. Aside from being the largest exporter of abaca, we also produce buri, bamboo, sisal, and salagao fiber. Visit the National Museum and be amazed with a section exclusive for the Philippine textile industry named The Artistry of the Philippine Textiles. Experience how our brothers and sisters from different regions hand weave and knit stuffs made up of indigenous resources and dyed naturally. What's more, each and every fabric from countries' aboriginal tribes is unique in pattern and color. In 15th century, European countries began their voyages and conquests of many countries. Thus, Ferdinand Magellan reached the Philippines in 1521. The Philippines became a colony of Spain in 1562. This colonization changed the lives of the Filipinos drastically. Spain took control of the Philippine economy for 3 centuries. In the context of globalization, the famous galleon trade became the primary instrument in the spread of local merchandises to different parts of the world. It consisted of 2 ships that sailed each year, one leaving the port of Manila and other one coming from the port of Acapulco, Mexico. It is noteworthy to mention that Spaniards, Indians, and Chinese were greatly benefited by this international trade. In the long run, majority of the products that the galleons brought to Mexico were Chinese goods, with only a few Filipino individuals enriched. The Philippine industries and their workers were exploited heavily. By 17th century, Royal Economic Society of Friends of the Country and Royal Company of the Philippines widened the commercial relationship of Spain and the Philippines. These companies made a positive impact on the Philippine agriculture by encouraging Filipinos to become farmers of mulberry, sugarcane, coffee, spices, and tobacco. During this time, the Philippines became the largest producer of tobacco in Asia, together with the pride of being one of the best in the world. At this time, Industrial Revolution began in the United Kingdom and later spread to Europe. Machines and equipment replaced manual labor in manufacturing goods. In the second phase of Industrial Revolution, towards the end of the 18th century, various inventions and innovations paved way for new industries to engage in large production. This development reached the shores of America and other nations outside Europe. To sum up the role of the Philippines in globalization during Spanish era, the country was the source of raw materials and labor for 300 years. He is Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, a conquistadores and the first Governor-General of the Philippines. He is Andres de Urdaneta, another conquistadores, and because of his excellent chronicle, he is credited for the discovery of the galleon trade routes under the command of Legazpi. This is the route of the galleon trade. Do you know that the galleon also reached and embarked in California? Feel free to read the journal of William Lil Skurtz at www.jstor.org. These are the porcelain wares of China, while these are the merchandises that come from the Philippines and brought to Mexico. These coins are used in the Philippines. They were minted in Spain and Mexico. By the turn of the century, the Philippines became a colony of America. Our economy transitioned to market economy, which gave many Filipinos opportunities to participate in retail businesses. New industries such as telecommunications, transportation, mining, and banking emerged. However, the Americans controlled the major industries and the national economy. 1906 marked the year that 15 Filipino sakadas, or laborers, were employed by the Hawaiian Sugar Planters Association. From then, Filipinos became the third largest ethnic group in this U.S. state. Back then, these Filipino migrants could be considered as OFWs in today's context. With regards to export of Filipino products, heavy restrictions such as tariffs and quotas were applied, while American goods and services flooded the Philippine market. American multinational and transnational companies became huge. Some of these are Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Clorox, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, and Kodak. These imported goods were promoted heavily, thus resulted to colonial mentality. In addition to this, Americans themselves started migrating to the Philippines and operate their businesses. The mere role of the Philippines in globalization during the American period was the market for imported products from food, household items, clothing apparels, and even books. This is the view of Binondo, the world's first Chinatown, from the Jones Bridge. These are the currency used in the Philippines during the U.S. colonization period. This is an interesting chronicle of an American discussing the possibility of opening a sugar plantation in the country. Read on. The Japanese occupation and the World War put a halt at the national economy. Well, buong mundo naman apektado ng ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig. Isa nga lang sa pinakadurog na bansa ang Pilipinas dahil dito naganap ang labanan sa pagitan ng Amerika at Japan. Sa wakas, natapos ang World War II noong 1945. At the last years of the Commonwealth, President Osmeña and Rojas supported the Bell Trade Act and Tidings Rehabilitation Act, which granted Americans parity rights, the equal access of Americans to explore, develop, and use the country's natural resources. These acts clearly continued the dominance of American MNCs and TNCs and their brands in the Philippines, despite our country gaining independence. These are the paper bills printed by the Japanese government during the Second Philippine Republic under Jose P. Laurel. Due to hyperinflation, Japan issued 1,000 and was considered as Mickey Mouse money. The succeeding presidents of the Philippines adhered to and adopted the economic policies of the United States of America. Under the administration of Rojas, Quirino, Magsaysay, Garcia, and Macapagal, the USA remained to be the biggest trading partner and foreign direct investors of the Philippines. The pesos was also pegged to the US dollar. When Marcos assumed the presidency, the Philippines became a founding member of ASEAN. This promoted free flow of goods among member states with low or no restrictions. Many Filipino products were exported to Southeast Asia. The Philippines was able to produce rice enough for the national consumption, and with the surplus being exported. The country was also the world's largest producer of coconut. Under Aquino, trade liberalization furtherly opened the country to foreign companies and investors. The USA and Japan remain to be the biggest trade partners, with Japanese brands dominating the household appliance category, such as Sony, Panasonic, Hitachi, Sharp, Sanyo, and Casio. The US MNCs and TNCs continue flooding the market with their products such as Colgate, Palmolive, Dole, Ivory, Tupperware, Pepsi, McDonald's, and KFC. Still, the country's trade is imbalanced, with the volume of imports outweighing the exports. Sa sobrang sikat nga ng mga imported products na ito, naging mga katawagan na sa mga produkto ang kanilang brand tulad ng Colgate at Tupperware. Due to globalization, many Filipinos decided to find better opportunities abroad. These economic migrants are called overseas Filipino workers. Aside from becoming the backbone of the Philippine national economy because of remittances, OFWs became instruments in the widening of popularity of Filipino products in the international scene. Since the time of Ramos, Estrada, Arroyo, and Aquino, the number of OFWs who have professional and technical skills and talents continues to surge, with the USA, Saudi Arabia, and UAE as top destinations. Sadly, for the past 50 years, the country's trade pattern is in a downtrend. The excessive imports, together with the devaluation of peso, increased in petroleum products, further continued creating trade deficits. There were only 3 times that the Philippines had a balanced trade: year 1973, 1999, and 2000. The rest was always a trade deficit. Our agricultural export products, which were once on top of the world ranking, were also on a decline. Our neighboring Southeast Asian countries are now in the forefront of global agribusiness. Thailand and Vietnam are now the world's largest producer of rice. Indonesia has overtaken us as the largest producer of coconut. Do you know that the farmers and food scientists of these countries were once foreign students in the Philippines? Yes, they were educated by Filipino teachers. Globalization made it possible for foreigners to study in another country. Kung si William Schurman ang tatanungin, globalization is simply the westernization or Americanization of the world. Sang-ayon ba kayo sa kahulugang kanyang ibinigay? Gaano kahalaga sa inyong buhay ang mga produkto at serbisyo ng Amerika tulad ng Internet, Intel, Mac, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Android, YouTube, at iba pa. Now that you have learned about the historical background of globalization in the country, try to reflect on this question. Is globalization a blessing or a curse to the Filipinos and the Philippines?
Aliyah, Gio, Clyde, Yuan, Fitz, AJ, Prince.